the caterpillar has a limited life. Unless it moves, becoming into a chrysalis, and from there into a butterfly, it's going to go extinct. Correct? It's an evolution process to survive and sustain. Next. Quickly, move. Yeah. Growing up from an infant to an adult, we all know this.
इधर
Next.
किसके पास है?
We have
किसके
seen
पास
this
है?
process. This is nothing but growing up. Correct? Next. It's a very organic growth process where the size increases, right? Nothing else changes. The shape does not change. Transformation that happens, it's primarily because of the growth. Correct? Next. So what is the key takeaway? If you look at both of them,
हेलो
you have to be louder, you have to be confident, even if it is wrong, that's
प्रोजेक्टर का
absolutely fine.
पेंटर किसके पास
Yeah,
है?
quick.
हेलो
It's growth, okay, fine. What else? Evolution is the other part, yes. Overall, what is happening? It's a transformation. It's a transformation that is happening all throughout. Click. Next. Both are transformations. However, next. One sees evolution, the other grows. So, next. Evolution needs change and form, while the other is growth in size. Both the things you see in an organization, and you will see it pretty often. Adobe, if you look at just one example, what it does today and what it started off, very, very different. My own organization that I am a part of today, it started with batteries. Today into solar water pumps. Tomorrow we are diversifying further ahead. A complete different change altogether. Correct? That is one form of transformation. And the second form of transformation where organizations scale up big time from an X to a Y to a Z, and that also needs transformation to happen. Next. So most importantly, what mattered yesterday may not matter today or may not matter tomorrow. This is something which we all need to be very, very clearly aware of. जो आज सच है, वो जरूरी नहीं कि वही कल रहेगा. So unless we understand, we anticipate, we predict, and when we make prediction, we make calculated predictions. It's not a gut. कि मैंने सोचा ये होगा. No. So that is something which is the process of transformation when we look at in an organization. Next. So the imperative is to continuously transform or lose out. Why? Okay. Various reasons. The leadership changes, geopolitical scenario, international security, right? Because we are a global citizen today at the end of the day. Our products are no longer restricted to the local and domestic market alone. So various reasons, hyper automation, product life cycle, which has shrunk big time and it is further shrinking. So all these are various reasons why the transformation is becoming inevitable. Next. But again, when we talk of transformation, in the last one decade, if I look at, this is something which has been a buzzword. Correct? Innovation. Tell me, what is innovation? Yeah. You can reseat it. Okay. So let me make it more simpler. Google karo. All of you have it. बहुत simple definition. Can you move on to the next one? Yeah. It says to make change in something established by new ideas, methods, and process. Correct? बहुत simple. और कुछ नहीं. But is it sufficient? We all get ideas. We all critically look at things. अगर मैं आपको पूछूं इस कॉलेज में और क्या-क्या चीजें हो सकती है, there are 10 things which we are going to talk about. I'm pretty sure of that. And everybody will have some or the other suggestion. Is that relevant? So what is relevant? Innovation, by just that word, does not quite serve the purpose. Next. It becomes relevant only if you innovate with purpose. So, why do you need to innovate? You need that innovation in what? In doing what? For what? Unless that is clear, the innovation will not serve its purpose and it will not be meaningful. Next, to yield the desired impact. So what you need to define here is, what is the impact which is desired, and that impact is desired by what time, in what time do you need that impact to happen, and what quality of impact do you want to have, you want to be there. If you are able to bring out a fresh idea, a fresh method, an innovation, an improvisation in the system or in the process, which can help you do that, then it is meaningful innovation. And this innovation is a and various such innovations together will enable the transformation to happen. That's how the process basically evolves. Next. Now, you all have joined a business school, correct? Why are you learning management? And I don't want to hear from you. I want to hear from everybody, correct? So others also. Why do you want to hear from people like us? 7 days, I think this is the 7th day, correct? 6 दिन से सुन रहे हो, मुझे पता नहीं कितने हुए हो, कितना नहीं हुए हो. I won't get into that, but I'm pretty sure that for some people, correct, they did want to listen to some stalwarts or experts, correct? Why? Yeah, please. Tell me yours. Why are you a part of a business school today? Why do you choose to be a part of a business school? What is the high objective which you have? Yes. You want to become a manager. Okay? Yes. Anything else? Anybody else? Yeah. That's okay. You just speak. Okay, but net the objective is either to become a good manager or maybe for some people to become a good entrepreneur, correct? How many of you want to do that, to be an entrepreneur? Yes. For all this, internally you had a feeling that you need to learn the basic aspects of management, correct? Next, irrespective whether you want to become a manager or an entrepreneur, at the end of the day, you are going to be an enabler. So what are you going to enable? Next, enable the sustenance, growth, and the built up of that business. We talked about sustenance, we talked about growth, and we are saying we are wanting to build up. And this to be done, you need to understand the business. That what is this business all about? Because that is what you have to enable. वरना आपका मेरा is paying me for doing nothing. And no organization would like to. Right? So now, what becomes important is, in order to understand business, what is the most critical element which you need to understand? Okay, I was told that there is something, correct? If somebody gives a right answer, I can give that, correct? Okay. So this question is one of the most critical questions. In order to understand business, what do we need to understand? Sorry? Yes. Give it to her. So, move next. The badge. One badge you can give it because this is the most critical thing which you need to understand. But when you say consumer behavior, I'll use the word customer. Right? So, still restrict the badge. When you say customer, you mean what? लोग तो होते ही हैं. Give me a management term for that. When you say customer, what do you mean by a customer? Sorry? That's only one side of the customer. Mind you, you are talking to an HR professional. So, यहाँ पर customer का meaning क्या होगा? End user is the same. Yeah. The person who's buying the product, that's the same one, consumer. You are right. Okay. Okay. वो बराबर है, बट कहीं ना कहीं वो यूज करने वाले के पास जा रहा है, बराबर? और कोई ना कोई खरीद रहा है, बराबर? That is what. So that is something which is external. All that I wanted to tell here is secret. Yeah. That's fine. That's also fine. Okay. So let me break it into two parts. What I meant is you get half the batch, or I'll restrict that. Move ahead. One is external. Who buys? Barabar? But the internal, what we miss time and again, and which is who ensures that the customer, that can be anybody. Guy, it could be an HR guy, anybody. People who are enabling this to happen at the end of the day, they are the internal customers. Correct? Do we agree? So to be future ready, it is not just important to know, but to know very, very well that who will be my customer. And why mentioning will be is because though there may be existing customers, but you may be diversifying. You may be introducing a new product line for that matter. Okay? It could be anything. All that is going to matter is you have to know this very well, that who will be my customer, why will he or she be my customer, where is my customer, how will I serve my customer, when will I be ready to serve my customer at the end of the day, because time is very critical today. That is because the product life cycles have shrunk big time. Very, very short life cycles. And what are the customers' needs and preferences at the end? Right? So till this point, the entire piece is clear. Right? Okay, next. Now, this is very, very, theoretical. Correct? Knowledge मिल गया, चलो ठीक है, हमने ब्रेनस्टॉर्म कर लिया, हमने पता लगा लिया, हमने सारे प्रेडिक्टिव एनालिसिस कर ली, and we have enough. It's not. It's to build the capability or bring about that people enablement to be able to do that. Now look at any organization, an existing organization. It is accustomed to what happens. What happens in the process? क्या होता है उस सिचुएशन में, व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन? दैट इज वन पार्ट, वो तो कैसे करना है, बट आप सिचुएशन देखो कि आप जो कर रहे थे अब आप वो नहीं करोगे, आप कुछ और करने वाले हो, किसी दूसरे तरीके से करने वाले हो जो मैंने पहले कभी नहीं किया है, और मुझे उसको सही तरीके से करना है, सही समय के अंदर करना है, सही कस्टमर तक पहुंचाना है, राइट? कैसे? हाउ इज दैट गोइंग टू हैपन? All different tools, right, we are going to be using at the end of the day. But अगर आपको ये करना है और आपने पहले नहीं किया है, तो what is most important? You have to upgrade yourself. That upgradation is what is capability built up. One is you doing it yourself, an organization enabling that for yourself, for you. That in order to do this, you need this set of knowledge, you need these set of skills, you need to have this kind of an attitude, you need to bring an ability to judge things or make decisions, having done that repeatedly at a point in time, and build that competence. That's what you will be required to do. And this is what becomes important to be done at the end of the day, that you need to enable the people, both existing and the new customers. Existing, the people who are there with me, new customers who are joining in. So today, tomorrow, if you were to join an organization, you are a new customer for that organization. Are you skilled enough? Are you capable enough to be able to do what you are expected to do? That's the second element. External and internal, both, in order to deliver, sustain, grow and build. So nothing is going to happen if these aspects are not taken care of. So simply putting, transformation is inevitable. It happens in every organization, whether in growth or to sustain. It is a continuous process. We define them specifically when we are pivoting, a word which we use often in startups. Correct? कि हमें pivot करना पड़ेगा. Correct? But then that is nothing but, an evolution, diversifying into something totally new. But for doing that, you need to have right kind of people. And when you say right kind of people, whether it is existing or the new, building those kind of capabilities in them, right, which is so very essential. So to define that, it takes some of the experts to put in their mind also, and still they may fail. To understand that what business, what role, एक रोल को हम बता देते हैं कि अरे हमें तो परचेस का आदमी चाहिए, करेक्ट? टिपिकली परचेस का आदमी चाहिए, बराबर है. किस टाइप की परचेस करेगा, किस फ्रीक्वेंसी में करेगा, उसके मार्केट ऑप्शंस कैसे हैं. There are various things, there are 50-60 things which need to get defined to be able to understand that if I need a purchase guy, right, at what level, what kind of decisions he or she will be needing to take, what kind of customers, internal customers will he or she coordinate with, does he or she have that kind of a skill set, various things. And unless you have defined that right, you are not going to get the right person. And if you have got the person at maybe an 80% match, still there is a gap which is 20%. Who's going to fill that? And how is it getting filled up? Because if that does not happen, it is going to have an impact in the quality of purchases that you make and in the kind of final products that you deliver. And it has an impact on the margins, because the kind of cost set which you are making that purchase. So everything is linked up. But at the end of the day, what matters is that while I am getting into that new transformation to happen, right, there are certain enablement which needs to happen simultaneously. And that's the crux of this entire thing. Correct? So let's move ahead now. So are we all clear on the concept and the context? Tell me a yes or a no. Yes. Otherwise what happens is that I would not be able to understand whether I am still relevant or not. Correct? और इतनी छूट है मेरे साथ कि अगर आपको लगे कि ये सर relevant नहीं है, you can tell me. Because अगर at a leadership position, and this is again important for all of you, if you stop listening and if you stop taking feedbacks, you will stop the growth process there and then. It is up to my judgment that what I need to take, how much filter I need to apply, and then take the final decision or enable the final decision to happen. So, feedback is very important. आपके लिए भी और मेरे लिए भी. Yeah. Okay. So next. So now quickly looking at the reason, as I told you, since the audience is one which is wanting to get into a corporate life or an entrepreneurial life at a point in time, the focus which I wanted to build in was to enable you to understand that what do organizations look at. Though I am not exposed to all the industries, my exposure has been limited to a manufacturing, to a BFSI, to telecom, to private equity, and as of now, the renewable energy. But on the other side of it, I have known one thing, that the story remains the same. Characters change, the plot changes, correct? कभी थ्रिल आ जाता है, कभी कॉमेडी आ जाती है, कभी ड्रामा आ जाता है, but then रहती तो वही है. So, what the organization, what they expect as on date, now, today, is one, a business mindset and data solution. So whether you are able to think through the business in whatever role that you take up. So अगर हम HR की बात करके, I'll focus on that, though I can talk on other subjects, but I'll focus on that. So knowing exactly what kind of a people you want to hire is going to flow from that business thought process. If you do not understand the business, right, that is not going to happen. Data solutions primarily say that the kind of data that today you have a luxury of ample amount of data. Primary research, people do very less. I have still seen people not doing that, which is also very critical. But then secondary and tertiary, you have abundant amount of data available. But then how do you use that data? Take the primary data and then come to a conclusion that what should be done or build alternatives at that point in time is something which is very, very critical. And that is what organizations expect that this breed is going to bring up. Because if I look at my own self, जब WhatsApp आ गया था ना, उसके 2 साल के बाद मैंने अडॉप्ट किया था WhatsApp के साथ. LinkedIn को शुरू हो गए भी 1-1.5 साल हो गया था, उसके बाद then I hopped into LinkedIn. Chat GPT शुरू हो गया, मेरी बेटी ने मुझे बोला कि नहीं पापा आप जाओ, this has certain degree of value. Then I went into Chat GPT and I started understanding. But then this breed essentially brings that skill set, and that is something which is very important, but coupled with business sense. Because otherwise, a lot of data will come up, but you would not know which data to take and which not to. What customization you need to do? The Chat GPT can give you n number of things, right? जो हमें शायद 15 दिन लगते थे, वो शायद वो 2 घंटे में दे सकता है, correct? so what? Coal is extinct. No. Because in that, I need to apply my filter. I need to build my expertise and find out that what is relevant and what is not. What is going to work and what is not going to work. So that is where the business mindset is going to help. To look at it from a cost and benefit perspective. पढ़ने में बड़ा आसान होता है, cost benefit analysis, CBA. But how many of us do that? In everything that you do. I was talking to an Ola guy where I think the booking was done in the morning and they underwent a strike. I don't know how many of you know. Those who take this Ola Uber, right? They were on a strike last week. You know what reason was it for? Yes? Very important for us to understand the external environment also. Right? वो इसलिए स्ट्राइक पे थे क्योंकि उनको आज भी 10-12 रुपए मिल पाए 1 किलोमीटर के ट्रैवल के. And if you do cost analysis, deep analysis, आप खुद अपने लिए करो, 10 rupees would barely cover your cost. किसी भी गाड़ी में, unless that you are an EV. It is difficult, correct? So that is the pain point. So what money are they going to make? So the business model, जो कल चल रहा था, आज there is a need for a huge correction. But then if they do that correction, what is the implication? The margins कहाँ जाएंगे? Look at it, understand. और अगर margins वहाँ जाते हैं, तो आपका internal customer का मोरल और आपके जो external आपने जो drivers build कर रखे हैं, उनका मोरल. Now, to be able to balance, what kind of a solution will you have to come with? This is the business perspective. And if that be the case, and if you find an answer, and the answer is approved in the management, right? Then you need to look at that, how am I going to bring this into functioning? It will involve a huge change, right from the external to the internal customers. And how is that going to happen? Easier said than done. Easier said than done. The best of the minds, right, need to have a huge sense of, understanding, ability to mitigate the risks, understand, define, and then to be able to mitigate that. It's huge. That, to my mind, is something which is needed. Second is people and communication skills. बहुत communication skills के बारे में सुना होगा, but simple मैं बताता हूँ. Precise, being precise. Not talking too much, not talking too less. With empathy. To be able to understand the other side of the story. Nothing more to expect. Tell the why of everything. Correct? People don't want to listen to what. I'll tell you, ये जाके करो. बहुत रिस्पेक्ट करते हो तो कर दोगे. उसके बियॉन्ड नहीं करोगे. You need the logic. Correct? And never assume. Because that's when you make an ass out of you and me. Correct? Never assume that they know. इसको तो पता ही होगा. अरे ये तो MBA पढ़ के आया है. इसको तो सारी समझ है. सर कैसे पढ़ा था वो हमें पता है ना? हम भी वैसे ही थे. Correct? So somebody did tell us. Somebody got us inducted. And now the important thing that comes next. Third, digital and technological agility. That is something which is again very, very important, which they expect. With an assumption that I'm not making an ass out of you and me. Yeah, so next. Adaptability, resilience and continuous learning. This is what they expect. Situations are going to change. At every given point in time. Same नहीं रहने वाली. आज एक बात सुनी मैनेजमेंट के पास से, मैनेजर ने बोला आज ये करना है. 2 दिन बाद उसने आके प्लान बदल दिया, बोला ये करना है. सर तो 2 दिन जो किया उसका क्या? Frustrated. Not going to help you. If you want to be frustrated, you can be. At your choice. Organization wants this. Can you adapt and be flexible? Point number one. Point number two, resilience, uncertainty, volatility. We all talk about that VUCA world, correct? वो सारे शब्द हमने सुने हैं, but they are real, right? Are you resilient enough, right, to be able to take that stress at that point in time? Uncertainty है सर, है. मैंने स्टार्टअप ज्वाइन किया, बड़े सपने हैं कि ये तो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन वो करने वाला है, सही है, वो सपने हैं, बट आज देने के लिए उसके पास नहीं है ज्यादा, क्योंकि वो स्टार्टअप है. आप अपना धंधा शुरू करोगे तो कैसे करोगे? इन्वेस्ट करोगे बड़ी बड़ी ऑफिसेस में, राइट? लैविश बेनिफिट्स, स्टाइल, एवरीथिंग? नहीं. आप क्या करोगे? आप पहले कस्टमर तक पहुंचोगे, करेक्ट? आपका एजेंडा वो है. So to be able to be resilient, and the third, continuous learning. Those days are gone when people used to say कि आपको सर हम एक, I remember 2006 when I was with IDEA, I created उनका जो बड़ी स्कीम है immediately after leaving IDEA, that was created by me and which got built across the Aditya Birla group at that point in time. उस टाइम पर बड़ी का concept was something which was very new, and how you create that process, and that is what we had done. But आज अगर कोई मुझे पूछे, right, कि is that functional, valuable, relatable, I would say no. Because today I would say whether the organization does it or not, boss, एक बात समझो, resources गिन चुन के, depending on the kind of business that you are in. And if that be the case, then what becomes important is कि if that is the scenario, और मैं ये सोचूं कि मेरे को तो कोई बड़ी ही नहीं है, मिंटर ही नहीं है, मेरे को तो सुनने में आया था कि यार अच्छे ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में तो बड़ी होते हैं, मिंटर होते हैं, राइट, जो हमें मार्गदर्शन दिखाते हैं. बॉस, यू हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई अ मेंटर फॉर योरसेल्फ. फाइंड इट आउट इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. हु इज दैट पर्सन हु कैन हेल्प यू, गिव यू द रियलिस्टिक बाइट्स कि मुझे क्या करना चाहिए इस सिचुएशन. आप वेट नहीं करोगे. And that to my mind, here I want to relate to continuous learning, that I have to take that initiative to learn. That what things can I go ahead and do? Next, change and culture leadership. I'm not going to be talking much, but very simple. 90-95% of the businesses in India are family-owned businesses, and I think I will stop. और अगर वो फैमिली ओन्ड बिजनेस, अगर आपको ये डेटा पे विश्वास नहीं है, आप गूगल करें, राइट, क्योंकि हैं तो फैमिली ओन्ड बिजनेसेस ही. और अगर फैमिली ओन्ड बिजनेसेस हैं तो उनके तौर तरीके, राइट, आपको अडेप्ट करने हैं. यू विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड द फाउंडर्स ड्रीम. यू विल हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट द प्रमोटर वांट्स, करेक्ट. और अगर वो आपको डायरेक्ट एक्सेस नहीं है तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. यू विल हैव टू ट्रस्ट योर मैनेजर फॉर दैट मैटर. But to be able to understand that, and if you have to walk in that line, and that to my mind is very important. Finally, ethics, compliance and inclusion. आप जो भी कर लो, right, at the end of the day, inclusive culture build करोगे, लोग relate करेंगे, compliant रहोगे, दूसरे झमेले से दूर रहोगे. Legalities. HR point of view, very, very important, correct? There are quite a number of HR and finance both. There are quite a number of legal compliances which you need to be touched. Unfortunately, it's only one subject in my entire course curriculum, और जिसको भी हम साइड में रखते हैं क्योंकि there are many other subjects which are equally important. कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, that's fine. We are in a Google age, correct? We are in a Chat GPT age. बहुत कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन आ जाएगा, मिल जाएगा, बट वो सिर्फ नॉलेज देगा, करेक्ट. उसको अप्लाई करना, राइट, इज समथिंग विच यू विल हैव टू लर्न एंड अंडरस्टैंड. कोई सिखाने आएगा? आंसर इज नो. अगर आप अकेले व्यक्ति हुए तो कोई मिलेगा नहीं. सीखना पड़ेगा, जानना पड़ेगा, करना पड़ेगा, सीखना पड़ेगा. कंसल्टेंट्स मिल जाएंगे. यू कैन गो आउटसाइड, हैव अ क्विक वॉश एंड कम बैक. यू कैन डू दैट. या गो अहेड, एब्सोल्युटली फाइन. आई एम गुड टू गो, नो प्रॉब्लम्स. ये होता है बिकॉज आई नो इन MBA क्लासेस, अभी तो ठीक है, अभी आपकी शुरुआत है शायद. लॉट ऑफ लेट नाइट प्रोजेक्ट्स आर ऑल्सो गोइंग टू हैपन एंड दिस काइंड ऑफ स्टफ इज गोइंग टू बी प्रिटी रियल, करेक्ट. वो होगा. And many other extracurricular things which are going to come up. But Again, it says that I know my own self, right? So I should know what to do. Correct? If I want to be a part here, I need to be fresh. So let me see how can I be fresh. Correct? So make a decision. Next. Yeah. So from the fresh graduates, if that is the expectation of the organization, I'll be quick here. Be sensitivity to the legacy and culture. Legacy why? 20 साल पुराना बिजनेस है, राइट? प्रोडक्ट्स बदल रहे हैं, डाइवर्सिफाई हो रहा है, बराबर है. बट फर्स्ट जनरेशन ने चलाया, आज सेकंड जनरेशन चला रही है, कल हो सकता है थर्ड जनरेशन आएगी. करेक्ट? विद अ न्यू व्यू पॉइंट, with a new product, right, etc., etc. Know that legacy, know the value systems, know what they value the most. आप किसी भी पुराने बिजनेस में जाएंगे तो आपको बिजनेस का कोर मिलेगा कि आधे से ज्यादा लोग, राइट, ट्रस्ट पे चलते हैं. A very significant value on which you cannot undermine that. You believe that, sir, I have come from such kind of a pedigree, right? And why are you not trusting me? Well, the answer is that the legacy tells I'll trust you only once you have given your 2 years to the organization and you have done significantly there. Otherwise, I am not going to be trusting you. So if that be the case, what makes out of you? कैसी organization में फंस गया मैं? हैं? होता है? These are real emotions which I am talking about, correct? And in order to fight that, what you need to understand, again, you need to understand the business, you need to understand the legacy, you need to understand the vision, why that business came into play, what they are wanting to do now, and how am I going to be able to contribute to that journey.
You've touched a very important point, that tenure frame of 2 years. I think I'll be I really, this is a very, very important point that sir has touched base. Your tenure in your organization, because all these things that he's speaking, you will not be able to write any of these things in case you feel 6 months and I've learned everything, because we've been seeing this happening with your generation. So this is a very, very important takeaway from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
On this.
So this, to my mind, is what you need to understand, right? And this is what is expected from a fresh graduate. Next, drive human-centric innovation. It says, innovate karo. Ideas, improvisations, process system में सब करो. But don't forget the human behind it, right? और अगर कोई भूल रहा है और आपको पता है कि वो rigid है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, हो सकता है आज नहीं, बट आप अपना पॉइंट रखो जरूर, राइट, कि ये है, उसका प्लस माइनस दिखाओ. फिर अगर नहीं होता है देन इट्स फाइन, गो अहेड एंड डू इट, बट एट अ पॉइंट इन टाइम यू विल बी एबल टू ब्रिंग दैट चेंज, नॉट नाउ बट टुमारो. बट मेक अ ह्यूमन सेंट्रिक इनोवेशन. एंड मेनी प्रमोटर्स आई हैव सीन, राइट, हु टेल कि देखो दोस्त, मैं ये सब नहीं जानता, मैंने ये सब नहीं किया, मैं ये जनरेशन को भी नहीं समझता. कई बार मैं खुद भी बोलता हूं कि मैं मेरी बेटियों को इतने अच्छे से नहीं समझ पाता हूं शायद. आई फेल, राइट, बट ऑल दैट आई टेल, मैं इतना ही बोलता हूं कि आई विल स्टिल ट्रस्ट यू, बट आप ट्रस्टवर्दी बनो. यू टेल मी व्हाट इज टू बी डन, अलाउ मी टू एक्सेप्ट और रिजेक्ट. इफ यू आर राइट, आई विल गो विथ यू. My trust will build on you. Do you agree to this or not? So that is what is human-centric innovation, which I'm talking about. Third, data and analytics fluency. I don't need to talk about that. So if you are into HR and if you feel that I'm done enough, then let me tell you, you need huge data. People say that HR is not tangibly measured, then it is wrong. Problem is, you need to know how to measure. And what matters to measure in the organization today. So अगर मेरी ट्रेनिंग, राइट, मैं मेजर कर रहा हूं मैन डेज के ऊपर, बॉस, इट इज इररिलेवेंट एज ऑन डेट. कचरा डेटा है. आपको मैंने 2 दिन ट्रेन कर दिया साल में, बट आपने किया क्या? डिड योर कॉम्पिटेंसी बिल्ड अप? इंक्रीमेंट का टाइम आएगा, मैं आपको बताऊंगा, सॉरी, यू आर स्टिल द सेम दैट यू वर 1 year बैक, राइट?
I cannot see any growth beyond this. And organization wide, I do not see an added value. What will I measure then? I'll measure that, okay, 2 years down the line, I'm coming up with this business, right? For this business, I need this set of people, right? So do I have those people by this timeline? One measure. Two measure, if I need a specific kind of a skill set, are the people ready at that point in time? Have they been skilled enough? So whether we are talking about skilling, reskilling, upskilling, cross-selling, cross-skilling, anything, at the end of the day, are you skilled enough to be able to deliver the final product for that business or the service? So that is what I term it as data and analytics fluency. And in today's world, you guys have a lot of strength to be able to bring that. Correct? जहाँ पर हम fail होते हैं, because you know the use of Power BI, correct? What it can do, correct? हम तो सीखे हैं, हम अब सीख रहे हैं. मैं तो अब भी बोलता हूँ I'm still a learner, right? मुझे समझ में आया कि चैट जीपीटी तब तक नहीं दे सकता जब तक मैं बहुत अच्छी चैट करने के काबिल ना हूँ, right? So I'm learning how to do that chat on the other side of it. Internal marketing and change advocacy. बॉस, मैं चेंज का बड़ा पार्ट बना कि नहीं बना, राइट? मुझे इतनी बड़ी डिसीजन की कैपेबिलिटी मिली कि नहीं मिली, इममटीरियल. जो चेंज आया, राइट, जो चेंज ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक्सपेक्ट कर रही है कि जो करना है, एम आई एडवोकेटिंग दैट वेल? एम आई टॉकिंग टू माई पीपल, राइट, एंड सेइंग व्हाई दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट? पान के गल्ले में जाके हम सिगरेट चाय जब भी पी रहे हैं, मस्का बन खा रहे हैं, वॉट एवर, and there is a corner topic that is coming up, what discussion are we doing? Am I propagating why it is important? Otherwise I am myself looked at as a double-faced guy, right? वो क्या बात करेगा, उसका impact क्या होगा? Organization तो actually understood होती है दो जगह पर, पान के गल्ले में और टॉयलेट्स में. अगर मेरा एक्सपीरियंस बोलो तो वहाँ से डिफाइन होती हैं, और कैंटीन, पैंट्री जहाँ पर होती है वहाँ से डिफाइन होती है. सो इफ दैट बी द केस, राइट, व्हाट इज द काइंड ऑफ अ चेंज एडवोकेसी दैट यू कैन बिल्ड अप? इंटरनल मार्केटिंग, रत्नमणि जो गुजरात में अहमदाबाद में है, राइट, अगर आपको केस स्टडी इंटरनल मार्केटिंग की देखनी है तो उसकी देखो. हाउ दे हैव डन द मार्केटिंग इंटरनली विद इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, हाउ दे हैव एडवोकेटेड द चेंज. अगेन अ फैमिली ओन्ड बिजनेस, करेक्ट? नेक्स्ट, इंक्लूसिव टैलेंट ग्रोथ एंड वेलबींग. ये तो लोग इतनी बात करते हैं कि अगेन यहाँ पर अगेन आई एम अज्यूमिंग दैट यू गाइज अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज इंक्लूसिवनेस, व्हाट इज वेलबींग, राइट? देयर आर सीरीज विच आर गेटिंग मेड ऑन द mental well-being, so on and so forth. Next, final, cross-functional, stay back, cross-functional collaboration. मुझे किसी ने पूछा था, मैंने अभी कुछ दिनों पहले की बात है, there was something which got discussed between the MD and myself, and I knew that I can't do that my own self, so I was talking to my team. I took all the 3 vertical leads of mine and I was talking to them. तो उन लोगों ने तब तो सब सुन लिया, सब करना भी शुरू कर दिया, राइट? फिर रात को हमारा एक पैटर्न है कि हम रात को जब निकलते हैं ना तो बाहर खड़े रहते हैं, कुछ सिगरेट वगैरह पीते हैं, 10 मिनट वी स्पेंड एंड वी एक्सचेंज जो भी हुआ. उस टाइम पर मुझे एक बंदे ने बताया कि सर आप ये हर चीज़ में ये हाँ क्यों बोल देते हो, ये तो सर हमारा काम ही नहीं है. दिस इज समथिंग विच इज़ कम्प्लीटली रिलेटेड टू फाइनेंस. सर ये हम लोग क्यों कर रहे हैं? मैंने बोला देख, एक ही चीज़ है, मैं आज जो भी बन पाया हूँ ना, वो सिर्फ एक वजह से बन पाया कि मैंने ज़िंदगी में ना नहीं बोला. उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि जिसको ना बोलना था उसको नहीं बोला, आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट, बट कोई इनिशिएटिव, कोई इंटरवेंशन, कोई अप्रोच मैंने कभी ना नहीं बोली. उसने मेरी लर्निंग बिल्ड की, मुझे बहुत सारे अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ दिए, राइट? एंड इट स्टार्टेड बिल्डिंग मी अप. इट स्टार्टेड बिल्डिंग माई अंडरस्टैंडिंग. started giving me a holistic perspective of the business, and it made me more valuable. So if that be the case, the first thing which you should always do is, अगर कोई भी ऐसा टास्क या प्रोजेक्ट क्रॉस फंक्शनल कोलैबोरेशन इन्वॉल्व करता है, बी द फर्स्ट वन टू रेज योर हैंड अप एंड टेक इट अप, बिकॉज दैट विल शेप यू नो मैटर विच फंक्शन यू आर वर्किंग इन. कोई भी फंक्शन में हो आप, pick that up, because that is what will build you at the end of the day, irrespective, and you will win the race. Over. Yeah, next. I don't know how much time we have gone through, so I will have to be quick now. What is the time?
It's 11:30, sir.
11:30. Okay, so
7:30, sir.
I think question answer we'll do it 12 to 12:15. I'll wind it up within half an hour.
So we, try
Is it fine?
Yeah, we'll try and wind it up, but around the next 12. So
Okay.
we have to wind the next 10.
ठीक है, fair enough, done. So quickly speaking then, transformation, आप ये चारों चीज़ें ओपन कर दो. 4 clicks, 3 more clicks, yeah. So transformation unfolds on these 4 perspectives. One is gradual professionalization, organization. I'm not getting into details now, not in examples. So professionalization build karna, right? That is one way. Second, where organizations decide, for example, Mahindra did strategic HR as a growth lever. So where HR was used as the main element to bring that entire transformation, right? Third, technology adoption and people data, जिससे हम बहुत भली भांति परिचित हैं. We all are aware of this pretty often, because wherever what we understand normally out of transformation is what has happened in the IT industries, what has happened in the big engineering industries, right? And that is something which is talking about from a technology adoption and people data. And the final is strong culture plus modern leadership. So this is where again comes the family owned businesses, the legacies, right? Where there is a culture which you want to retain, and yet you want to bring in leadership which is going to catapult and bring them out from that business constraints. So that is the 4 kind of transformation which typically happens in any organization, but it is going to be constant. अगर कोई बोले कि हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कोई ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नहीं हो रहा है, तो वो गलत है. ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो ही रहा होगा, किस पर्सपेक्टिव से और उसको डिफाइन करके चला जा रहा है कि नहीं, इज अ डिफरेंट स्टोरी, राइट? एंड दैट्स द रीजन व्हाई सम ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस scale up, some organizations become extinct. And needless to say, I have also failed, right? When I was in my last organization, though we didn't fail because of the transformation, right? We failed for a different reason, but then I have seen failure. And I'm saying that because it is something which is real, and it's not going to happen without. Next, so our story. So why I've talked about this, because I can relate to a couple of stories, right? Simply putting, तो चूंकि हमारे पास टाइम कम है, I would relate to this by virtue. आप एक काम करो, इसके भी नेक्स्ट स्लाइड चले जाओ और चारों पॉइंट्स बिल्ड कर दो. या अल्टीमेटली इन whatever organizational story which I was supposed to talk to you from a current organization and my previous organization perspective, the objective was the 4 at the end of the day, because the value in that transformation lies in anticipating the talent needs and being. So let me give you an example. Currently, we are doing exceedingly well as far as our organization is concerned. To give you a background, 30 years into different kind of businesses, last 10 years into solar energy, last 5 years the growth of revenue 70 to 80% every year. So from a 75 crore to 175 to 325 to 520, right? Last year, and this year we are not sure. And I think we should have done even more. Held back for certain reasons. Now that be the case with the PAT, that is profit after tax, right? Close to around 13%, right? Which is significantly very huge, right? Knowing that the opportunity is abundant. That kind of an industry, but we still know that at a point in time, 4 or 5 years down the line, it will reach its saturation, right? The other part,
there is another need which is there for backward integration, right? And looking at that, all that since we are in EPC today, we buy, we assemble, and then we, install and commission at the end of the day. And now that is one part. What we want to do on one side is maybe a backward integration, or maybe manufacture certain, certain of the panels, etc. And those are stories which are going on. And they are also talking about right now. Because we need funds for that at the end of this. If that is the scenario, and 2 years down the line, right, this is the kind of process that we are making. How do we anticipate that what talent is going to do? We need to skilled to be doing that. Right? Technology which needs to be upgraded. Right now, the kind of EPC which we are working on, right, there is a 60% people who are on the field, right? Field where apparently those things don't matter much, correct? So there is a sea change, and to be able to understand those talent needs and to plot them today, to skill, upskill, reskill, and create higher right in time to be able to manage that. On the other side of it, when you are hiring big, right, your costs are going to deplete. Your margins thereby get impacted. If your margins get impacted, your IPO valuation will get impacted. So now, if that be the case, then you need to how do I manage the cost? So how do I optimize? All such parts is going to enable you to define your strategy for the next 2 years, for the next 1 year, for the quarters, 4 months. And that is what will help you to be able to anticipate that and using data-driven insights, because that will only help you to make the decision. Then normally what has been the trend? Classic example, हम जब हायर करते हैं तब हम क्या देखते हैं कि भैया हमें एक बंदा चाहिए. For example, let's say my business is happening in Haryana. Anybody from Haryana here? No. Okay. So let's say if I'm wanting to hire somebody in, let's say, Jind, ठीक है? अब मुझे जिंद में लेना है. जिंद as a district कितना बड़ा है? I have to look at that. कितने blocks हैं? कितने गांव हैं? उन गांव में मुझे कहां तक पहुंचना है, किस गांव में ज्यादा नीड है, right? I need to segment that, understand. I need to get a guy. If I get a guy in the block, fine. मुझे मिला कहां पे? मुझे मिला, let's say in Uchana. I get a person which is 30 kilometers away from, let's say, another site. Will he be able to reach there? 30 kilometers daily, 30 kilometers coming back. What work, efficiency, what is going to happen? If that be the case, 30 kilometers अगर हम उसको travel allowance नहीं देते हैं, तो वो पहले तो join नहीं करेगा. और अगर join करते हैं तो 60 kilometers तो आपके per day के हैं add हो गए. बाकी के छोड़ दो आप. Costing क्या है? Look at the costing. If that be the case, then where do I need to hire the person? I need to decide, and I need to get that right person there. या फिर मुझे mechanism को build करना पड़ेगा. जिसकी तहत मैं ये situation manage करूँ. I'm just giving you one very simple layman example to be able to understand that if you need to make a decision, right, to even hire, you need to have the specifics in place. All specifics. अभी तो मैं उसमें तो गया नहीं जो 7,000 लोग बात करते हैं कि what kind of person that they. अगर वो नहीं मिलता है तो क्या करोगे? उसका नेक्स्ट ऑल्टरनेटिव क्या? What is the plan B? What is the plan C? From which location are you going to manage? क्योंकि मुझे स्किल सेट वहां नहीं मिल रहा, मुझे कहीं और मिल रहा है. To transit, to be able to plot the cost benefit analysis. सर यहाँ पर अगर हम बिल्ड करेंगे 3 लोकेशन मैनेज होंगे, करेक्ट? एंड एट दिस कॉस्ट यहाँ पर एक बंदा मैनेज करेंगे, 2 करेंगे, दूसरे को यहाँ डालेंगे, ये कॉस्टिंग आएगी. So my per day costing is coming to this. Can you do that? Is a question. If you can do and bring that value and show that to your manager. which enables them to decide that is, and with a future perspective, that is what is important. सर आज तो हम ये बिजनेस कर रहे हैं, आज की हमारी नीड है, आज हमारी ये कॉस्टिंग होगी, ये हमारी प्रोडक्टिविटी स्टैंडर्ड्स आएंगे, बट कल अगर हम वहां पर बिजनेस स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं तो किसी लोकेशन में we don't need to hire a second guy and we will have the need, right? So it is going to justify at that point in time. Are you going to invest at this point for that? A decision to make. वो हर एक स्टेज में डिसीजन बदलेगा, बट वो डिपेंड करता है कि आप क्या डेटा प्रेजेंट करते हो और कितना रेलेवेंट प्रेजेंट करते हो. Financial acumen, raising HR's impact to bottom line. So in every decision making that you do, how is it impacted the bottom? Right? तो आप अगर किसी और डोमेन में जाना चाहते हैं तो आप उस एंगल से कि बॉटम लाइन को कैसे इम्पैक्ट. नेक्स्ट, people first culture and building meaningful engagement. Engagement is a very misused term. Correct? बहुत ही useful term. But then, what is meaningful engagement? To my mind, building proper performance review feedbacks is a meaningful engagement. To my mind, leadership traveling across to branch offices and discussing the P&L is a meaningful engagement. Correct? A feed forward or a feedback coming from the bottom to the top, to my mind, it's a meaningful engagement. So what are we wanting to create? With an objective. Again, I come back, purpose. Are we in line, in sync? या तो बहुत engrossed हो या तो फिर एकदम फ्लैट हो गया है. Give me a response. Thank you. At least it charges me up for the next 20 minutes at least. Okay, next. Oh, आप समझ गए हो? Well, बिल्कुल. So, with a building impact without direct responsibility. Now, why is that so? Because ऐसा नहीं होगा कि आप कहीं organization में join करेंगे ना, तो आपको immediately ये सारे decision making से आप expose हो जाओगे. You would not be joining at a head level, right? हाँ, अगर entrepreneur बन जाते हो, तो आपको उसकी need भी पड़ेगी. Because you will have to be able to understand and take those decisions, whether you are ready or not. You will be required to do that. But otherwise, so at my level, what am I supposed to do? Simple, people analytics, be data driven. Find out data if it is not there. Extract if that is a need in the organization. 2, HR tech fluency. Be ready with the, have a basic understanding of psychometric assessments, the people development tools that are in existence. At least get trained in one of them, right? Be trained in your Power BI. Be extremely competent on Excel, because that is something which जिसकी आपको जरूरत पड़ेगी frequently. Be that. Strategic and purposeful engagement. Get into doing that. यहाँ पर simple example. New people who are joining. You are joining an organization. You will have an experience. Understand all the gaps. If you are a part of HR, suggest what needs to be done. Suggest what needs to be done at not a major cost. Because जैसे ही आप कोई अच्छी बात करोगे और बहुत कॉस्ट इनकर करोगे, आपको एक लेवल पे साइडलाइन किया जाएगा कि बॉस जेल नहीं होता. ऐसे आइडियाज तो बहुत है हमारे पास. कंस्ट्रक्टिव, रेलेवेंट, प्रैक्टिकल, राइट? मेक दो सजेशंस. बी अ कोच एंड अ मेंटर टू दोज न्यू पीपल. What has been your experience? What has been others' experience in the past? Collect that experience. That's your historical data. Work on that and ensure that that experience does not happen with them. Give them a better experience. To that extent, you can coach and mentor. And that person is going to remember you forever. Lifetime. Innovate and improvise. Processes, methods, a lot of things you will see. Nobody is an expert. Believe me. हम कितने भी लेवल पे क्यों ना पहुंच जाए, हम एक्सपर्ट हमेशा कभी नहीं होते. There are things which we end up learning. Improvise and innovate. There. Suggest. But suggest in the right forum, in the right manner, with proper data and impact.
as to how you see that impacting the organization, then it will make sense and then people will listen to you. और जिंदगी में एक चीज याद रखना, कई बार मौके सिर्फ एक या दो बार ही मिलते हैं. अगर उसको सही ढंग से इस्तेमाल नहीं किया ना, तो उसके बाद वो आपकी सुनते नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारे पास समय नहीं होगा, राइट, हर एक की सुनने की. तो अगर उस टाइम पर अगर आपने, और उसके लिए रेडी होना उस दिन के लिए, वो आपका होमवर्क है. टू बी रेडी फॉर दैट मोमेंट, फॉर दैट डे. एंड इट इज जस्ट नॉट दैट इंटरव्यू डे, माइंड यू. इंटरव्यू होगा, आपको मिल भी जाएगा जॉब, बट जॉब में जाने के बाद this is going to matter, how ready you are. Change agility, I don't need to talk about much, right? So move ahead. Next, one very simple thing which I have, 30 60 90 day plan for anybody who goes into any organization. First 30 days, invest your time to listen and learn from historical data, correct, and listen to people. सब लोगों को सुनो, समझो क्या बताना चाह रहे हैं, क्या व्यूज आ रहे हैं, क्या परसेप्शंस हो रहे हैं, क्या थॉट प्रोसेसेस है, क्या अप्रोच है. ट्राई अंडरस्टैंड. 60 days, लीड स्मॉल प्रोजेक्ट्स, छोटी छोटी चीजें, बिकॉज यू नीड क्विक विंस इन योर ओन लाइफ, करेक्ट, टू बी एबल टू बी कॉन्फिडेंट, राइट, दैट आई एम डूइंग वेल. सो टेक दोस क्विक विंस, लीड दो स्मॉल प्रोजेक्ट्स इफ यू कैन गेट, जो भी छोटा क्यों ना आए, भले वो क्रॉस फंक्शनल हो तो हाथ और ऊंचे करो, राइट, दैट इज इवन मोर इंपॉर्टेंट. मेजर, आइटरेट एंड एक्सपैंड. देखो जो किया, राइट, उसको मेजरेबल फॉर्म में लाओ कि व्हाट इज गोइंग टू मेक सेंस फॉर द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, व्हाट इज गोइंग टू मेक सेंस फॉर माय मैनेजर. मेजर दैट, reiterate if you wish to do that, right, and build on it. Finally, demonstrate purposeful action orientation. So action to hona hi hoga, that is what brings, that is why people want that young blood, right, but then purposeful action orientation, jussa in the right direction, because if it is on the wrong direction, it can lead to chaos. Be curious, courageous and courteous. So no matter how silly my questions are, don't refrain from asking. Ask them. Be curious. Courageous. डरना नहीं है. My thoughts may get challenged. I may make mistake. I may be proven wrong. Doesn't matter. Let me give it a shot with right whys, with right hows, with right what's. That will ensure that the things are done. And finally, be courteous, be humble. Right? ये हम कई बार गलती कर जाते हैं, right? At any level, humility is very very important. क्योंकि हम अपने को अगर 30 मार्क समझने लगे, right, और दूसरे को तुच्छ समझने लगे, right, मानो ना मानो, you will lose grounds at a point in time. So be humble. That will always pay. कभी कभी धोखा हो सकता है, बट वो धोखा कम होगा, शॉर्ट टर्म होगा. लॉन्ग टर्म you will always gain if you are humble enough, right? That's it. Next, final, very quickly. So you don't need to be a leader to start thinking like one. Not necessary. वैसे बहुत सारी बातें चलती रहती है कि लीडरशिप ऐसे भी बिल्ड होती है, वो भी बिल्ड होती है. दैट्स फाइन, बट सोच तो कहीं नहीं जाती. सोच हमारे कंट्रोल में है. अपने आप को ये प्रश्न पूछना शुरू कर दो, हाउ डज दिस अफेक्ट द कंपनीज बॉटम लाइन? इफ यू कैन प्रैक्टिस दिस at in every intervention that you do, every function for all of us, that is going to make a difference. Is there data I can use to make a stronger case? मुझे पता नहीं ये कैसे करना है, इसका तो कोई डेटा ही नहीं है, तो ढूंढो. Find out what data becomes relevant. Explore that. How can I leverage that data to influence leaders and drive progress forward? That's again the final touch. So ये 3 questions practice करो अपने आप में, and I think you will be there. You will be getting the right answers, or at least reach to the right answers, right? And enable the decision making that happens at the top, and it prepares you it prepares you for the leadership positions ahead. वरना काम तो सभी लोग करते हैं. And that is why the topic was put as HR management to people enablement. उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि HR management होगा नहीं, वो तो बेसलाइन है, वो तो करना ही है, वो तो एक्सपेक्टेड है. बट पॉइंट ये है कि दैट इज नॉट इनफ ऑल दैट इट सेज. तो अगर मुझे ये लगता है कि कई लोगों को ये लगता है कि सर गुजराती, अच्छा लेस गुजराती, सो आई विल नॉट स्पीक इन गुजराती. तो कई लोग मुझे बोलते हैं कि सर ऐसा है कि ये काम तो मैं नहीं करती, ये काम तो सर मेरा तो एस्पिरेशन ये करना है. मैंने बोला बढ़िया है, चलो ठीक है. तो हमने उसी हिसाब से काम दिए. बट मैंने लाइफ में देखा है कि वो लोग कहीं ना कहीं पीछे रह गए. और जिन लोगों ने राइट सारी चीजों को एक्सेप्ट किया राइट और उसमें एक्सेल किया, उनको ढेर अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी मिलती गई, वो प्रूव करते गए और वो आगे बढ़ते गए. आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू शेयर दैट क्वाइट अ नंबर ऑफ देम, आई डोंट नो वेदर यू नॉट बट इन मैथ्स there were two ladies who were there with me, and both of them today, one of them is a CHRO for Eliando, which is just, it was Henson's group earlier in US. She's a CHRO there. Neha Sharma. Ira, who's doing exceedingly well and is a director in one of the firms in Bangalore, joined a fresh in Max. But what they did for themselves, they did it by their own selves, because that was the first time I had launched a concept in HR in Max which stated कि HR एक जगह नहीं बैठेगा, वो बैठेगा जहां लोग हैं. So there was one person in Baroda, one person in Surat, one person in Rajkot, and 2 people in Ahmedabad prima facie, because we had Bhavnagar managing from here itself. And this lady Neha was managing Baroda, and this lady Ira, she was managing the Ahmedabad and Bhavnagar primarily. But the only thing which I want to say here is that what matters is the kind of an approach that you carry at the end of the day. That is what makes a difference. Next, the final one. So for the entire HR fraternity, use data to turn into a clear, actionable business story. Why I say clear, actionable business story is, आपको पता है हमारे डेटा को है ना, कई लोग कई बार सुनना नहीं चाहेंगे, बट उसको कैसे सुनाना है ना, वो तुम्हारे हाथ में है. अगर उसमें कहानी लिखना जानते हो तो बात बनेगी. That is the thing. And I'll tell you one more thing. Interviews में, right? I have seen the way people do interviews, right? They miss out, right? The finer points, the real motives behind the people. But if you are able to ask the right set of questions, get into their personal, their life story, you get such a beautiful story, right? कि आपको समझ में आ जाता है कि अगर इसकी जगह पर मैं होता तो क्या करता, राइट? और वो सारे मोटिव्स आपके सामने खड़े हो जाते. एंड टू माई माइंड अगेन दैट इज अगेन अ स्टोरी, करेक्ट? सो अगर वो 1 मिनट की कहानी, राइट, हम जब हमारे, क्योंकि व्हेन वी लुक एट अ लीडरशिप पोजीशन आल्सो वी यूज द स्टोरी, और हम उस 1 मिनट की कहानी के अंदर हम वो सेटअप करते हैं, यू नो, ये क्यों सही है या ये क्यों सही नहीं है हमारे रोल के लिए. एंड आई थिंक दैट इज व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड द फाइनल फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू टुगेदर, हेल्प ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस टू हार्मोनाइज बिटवीन लेगेसी जो चलता आ रहा है, जो वैल्यू सिस्टम्स इनबिल्ट है, इंट्रिंसिक है, मॉडर्न स्ट्रेटेजी कि आज की जरूरत क्या है, आज की बिजनेस नीड क्या है, एंड at the end of the day, why you are doing this. The business is existing for what reasons, the purpose. And I think that sums it up all. Anything else? इसके बाद भी कुछ है, मुझे नहीं पता. हाँ, the final thing, when you are beginning the journey, seek mentors. वो तो मैंने आपको बताया, mentors ढूंढो अपने के लिए. Build core functional skills. अपने functional skills जो हैं, whether it is related to the new technology or whatever, build those. Volunteer for cross-functional task. इसमें कभी ना मत बोलना. Pick that up. That is going to work well. It will make wonders. क्रिएट पर्सनल लर्निंग रोड मैप. कोई और बताए कि सर मुझे क्या जरूरत है, राइट मैडम क्या चाहिए मुझे. Don't wait for that. You know what you are doing, what you are wanting to do, right? Build your own learning roadmap. That is going to work. So that's it from my side. Thank you very much. Over to you. The next slide. Thank you. And curious souls may open up. If there is a curiosity, yeah. And curiosity does not kill the cat. You can say till the time I can hear. Yeah.
So my question is, you already told that narrate your own story. So if a person who want to apply in a form of marketing or in IT uses resume as a magazine in the form of magazine or in the form of website, so that will be more eye-catching. So it creates any kind of positive impact to see that resume, and by